Leaving Florida, camping our way to Tennessee. Hi, and welcome back to our channel. We spent our last 21 days in Florida at an Encore Forest Lake Park in Zephyr Hills. We spent it with Jackie's folks, Bill and Icy Fitzgerald. We attended weekly bingo games. We attended a dance where a local band played. And the part I really enjoyed was they have a weekly Hold'em game at this park. And they also have a weekly Hold'em game at the adjoining park that's separated only by an auto gate. So 2 nights a week I played Hold'em and had a lot of fun. And FYI, a few other Florida parks that have a weekly Hold'em game: TTO Orlando, TT Three Flags, and Encore Sherwood Forest. Our stays there, I enjoyed a weekly Hold'em game. Bill and Icy and Jackie and I enjoyed the local restaurants in Zephyr Hills. One that we enjoyed twice was called the Red Top Pit Stop. It's a barbecue joint. Really good barbecue. It looks like a hole in the wall. It is a hole in the wall. But really, really super good barbecue. Another restaurant that we went to was one that Bill and Icy had been to before in previous trips to Zephyr Hills. They snowbird every winter down from New York. It was called the 2 Minute Grill. It's a local restaurant, very, very budget friendly, and the food was good, and we enjoyed ourselves. And the host, I can't remember the fellow's name, like he's an 80-some-odd-year-old guy that he's been there forever, and he there's a big long line out front, and he opens the door every few minutes and says, 2 minutes, 2 more minutes, you know. So it's kind of funny. Something you should take in when you're in Zephyr Hills. We also took the time to drive through Colt Creek State Park. It's a nature preserve. We saw a few gators. We saw some other wildlife. Very nice day. Very nice change of pace. We enjoyed ourselves. All in all, at this park, we enjoyed our stay. Our site was in the back corner of the park, very secluded. We were between two seasonal, basically the cabins they have there. And people were full-time there. The downside is there was a fence, and right on the other side of the fence was the highway. And right there was the railroad crossing. And it was kind of rough. And when the automobiles, especially the trucks and the trailers, hit that thing without slowing down, it was very noisy all day long and into the night until the traffic slowed down. And the other downside was the railroad tracks ran behind the park to that crossing, and it was used often. There were several trains a day, and of course when they came through there, they're blaring the whistle because of the crossing, and wake you up every time they come through at night, and they came through 2 or 3 times at night. All in all, would we go back? Yeah, I'd go back. It wasn't that bad. I mean, we kind of got used to it after a while. Matter of fact, the lady with the cabin right next door, when we were setting up, the train came through, and she goes, you won't even know it after a week. You won't even hear it, she says. So my father-in-law and I, we had to pick up a part for their Class C, and we went to a Blue Compass. In the parking lot, Paradigm fifth wheels that had caught fire. They had a terrible tragedy there. Luckily, no loss of life. They were just on display. But that video is worth seeing. And, don't try to fight a fire in your rig. Get out. Get out. It's not worth it. These things went up, and you'll see that. And on the way back from the Blue Compass with the part from my in-laws' Class C, we caught some skydivers, which I'll share as well in the videos coming up. This was our campsite in Encore Forest Lake. And these are Jackie's parents, Bill and Icy Fitzgerald. And this is the four of us at Red Hot Pit Stop.
How do you like the campground?
Well, it's okay.
Just okay?
Yeah. Yeah, there is a thing with the trains.
Oh, just in time.
We're at a Blue Compass in Seffner, Florida. They had a problem here. People, don't try to fight a fire in your rig. This is what happens when they catch on fire. Holy Christmas. Is that amazing or what? There's nothing left. Just the frames. Wow. Unbelievable. When we left Zephyr Hills, we traveled out of Florida into Georgia. And our first stop was a 2-night stay at Valdosta RV Park in Valdosta, Georgia. It's a good value park with full hookups. It had pull-through sites, a lot of room, and not much tree cover, so Starlink worked great. It's located right off I-75. Our next stop was TT Thousand Trails Atlanta South, located in McDonald, Georgia, south of Atlanta. While there, we visited with a friend, an old friend, a dear friend, who traveled down from Atlanta to see us. We also did a hike up Stone Mountain. I hiked up, Jackie hiked up, and we wanted some footage coming down in the gondola. So Jackie came down in the gondola. Got some good footage. I didn't go down with her because where the truck was parked was going to be about 2.5 miles from where the gondola was going to let Jackie out. So I walked down, got the truck, and drove over to pick up Jackie. This was our site in Valdosta RV Park. Here's a quick view around the park. Like I said, wide open sites, pull through, plenty big enough for any length rig really, and conveniently located off I-75. Value park, full hookups. Can't beat it. And even though the park was located right off I-75, it really wasn't that noisy. Here we are with our dear friend Reed from Atlanta, Georgia. Stone Mountain, Georgia. Beautiful. We then traveled to Natchez Trace RV Park. It's located in Hohenwald, Tennessee. While we were there, we drove to Pulaski, Tennessee to see a dear old friend and his father. We also spent time exploring the 444-mile Natchez Trace Parkway. We didn't cover all 444 miles, but we covered quite a bit. The parkway is maintained by the National Park Service and closely follows the original Natchez Trace, a historic Native American travel and trade route. In 1809, Meriwether Lewis lost his life traveling this route. We drove up and toured Nashville. We took in a show at the Grand Ole Opry. We also spent time on the Honky Tonk Highway, We also saw the original Grand Ole Opry, which is called Ryman Auditorium. While staying at TT Natchez Trace, Holly required a grooming. Jackie found a groomer in a small town called Finger, Tennessee. While waiting for Oliver to be groomed, drove around and stumbled upon the location of Buford Pusser's childhood home. The location was marked, but the structure was long gone. The movie Walking Tall was based on Buford's life story about a club-carrying lawman who fought organized crime, the Dixie Mafia in Tennessee. In 2004, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson portrayed Buford in the movie. The trading post at TT Natchez Trace. In the background, a track hoe demolishing the existing swimming pool. We just got done talking with a girl who works at the trading post, and she says most of their customers are from the outside. They're not staying at the park. And they do serve breakfast and lunch here. And we might stop down. Yeah, I have my finger in there. See, I was in there twice. Beneath this monument are the ashes of Meriwether Lewis, of Lewis and Clark fame. We visited with our dear friends Chris and his father Rusty. Even Ollie had a great time. This is Nashville, Tennessee, a section of town they call the Honky Tonk Highway. It's really a must-see while in Nashville. This is Ryman Auditorium. The Grand Ole Opry. Well, we took in a show. The Grand Ole Opry. We had great seats, bought them online, prepaid for parking, and it was easy, in and out. Something to cross off our bucket list. Great show. Photo op in Finger, Tennessee. Buford Pusser's childhood home place. And here's Buford. Next, we traveled to Mountain View, Arkansas to visit with Jackie's aunt and uncle. Mountain View is known as the folk music capital of the world. It's also known for the preservation of folklore and traditional music, located very close to the Ozark Mountain National Park. Weather permitting, in the village square on Friday and Saturday nights, they have live music in the front lawn of the courthouse. Unfortunately, during our stay, the weather did not cooperate. We did take in a show at Jimmy Driftwood's barn. Jimmy Driftwood was best known for writing the song, The Ballad of New Orleans. The song was made famous by Johnny Horton. You know the song. In 1814, took a little trip, along with Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi. We took a little bacon and we took a little bean, fought the bloody British in the town of New Orleans. Here we are with Jackie's aunt and uncle Rick and Cindy. Give us a hand, will you? We're prepping to move. The fact that it's very wet, everything's a mess, can only mean one thing. It must be travel day. Trash time. It's a good close walk to the trash here. We're at Blue Sky RV Park in Mountain View, Arkansas. They don't have a lot of amenities. There's no pool. They do have a bathhouse. They have horseshoe pits. I saw some cornhole boards. They do have a rec center, but I never went in there. We were here for the week and we were seeing her aunt and uncle who live here, so we didn't spend a lot of time at the campground. But as you can see, there's a lot of empty spaces. And it's quiet at night, but rush hour starting at like 5 o'clock in the morning, ending probably at 7 o'clock at night. The highway right here, or the road, is very, very noisy, and there's a lot of good old boys live out here in the sticks. They that have those big loud trucks and Harleys. But I like the Harleys too. But me being an old guy, I learned to be respectful and not get on the Harley pipes too bad at the wrong time of day or in congested areas and villages. I guess we all learn as we grow older. Okay, so we're going to drain the tanks. First thing are the rubber gloves. Getting those on. Opening the valve down below. Pulling on the ripcord. Okay, tanks are drained. Gloves are off. Gonna get the freshwater hose unhooked. I'm hooking at the spigot. Make sure it's turned off first. I'll unhook the filter from the hose. Get the water out of the filter for transport. Stow the filter. Seems complicated, doesn't it? Come over here and get the fitting, the two-way fitting off the spigot. And that also had my Save a Drop water meter on it. I install the regulator just before it goes into the rig. That's what I removed there. I don't use an adjustable one, I use a set one. Works really good. No complaints. Have to get the water out of this, get it rolled up and stow it. And they're real stiff when they're cold. Maybe when these go bad, the style hose I have, I'll try the flexible style. In the meantime,
Really, it's over 60.
I'll just fight it.
Still, unless they got sun on them for a while, they get pretty stiff.
I think I just made a comment about how stiff it was. Likes to fight you when it's chilly out. Gloves back on. Shut the other two valves off. I shut the discharge valve off. Now I have to get all the good stuff out of the pipe to the sewer. Or the stinky slinky. I like to make sure it's all out of there. For obvious reasons. Yuck. Alright, making sure it's all out. I'll disconnect the other end. And I'll hook them together. So nothing can be lost. It'll all be sealed shut. Sorry about the ice maker noise in the background. I'm recording this as I'm watching. All right, now I'll get that that last fitting off and put the plug back in. Yep, it's early, and I'm stiff when it's cold too. Get this fitting off the discharge. Put the cap back on. Whee! All right. Getting out the totes out of the front bay where we store all this stuff. Gloves go back on. I'm gonna stow port. Some people call that the slinky, I guess. Fittings go in this tote. Ever so often, probably at least once a month, I'll get my 5-gallon bucket out with water heavily laden with borax and soak all this stuff. They get a good rinsing if they get bad. This time around, I flushed a lot of clean water through the system, so everything was pretty clean when I started breaking down. All right, goes in this tote. Fun stuff. I don't know how you do it. This is how I do it. You probably do it a better way. That would not surprise me. We'll get the tote closed up. We'll stow it in the front bay on top of that coiled up freaking hose that both ends are sealed together. I screwed it into itself so no bad stuff can get in there. Alright, that part's done. Close her up. As you can see, with all the weather and the rain and the wind, we got a lot of tree stuff that came down. So before we can bring the slides in for certain, I'll be getting up on the roof and cleaning it off. Got the carpet, the outdoor rug staked down. I use this to pull the other stakes. Use a stake to pull a stake. I'm not talking about the kind of steak you eat. Let me translate. That was high speed for still plenty wet. So what we'll do now is I'll tell Jackie to unplug Starlink. And I'll go ahead and get that stowed. I want to try not to get dirt in those connections. Just be careful. This I store under in the basement, and this I clean up. Give it to Jackie and she stores it on the bed while we travel. All that's left with Starlink is to stow the cable. I'll do a whole video on Starlink on how we use it. The cable has to come from the router out to the antenna, and I'll show you what we do in that video. how-to video. It's a video of how I do it. You might want to use a rope to pull that blower up there if you use a blower. Be a lot safer, right? Next, we'll bring in the two Swintex slides. We'll also bring in the big slide on the other side, but I won't video that. We'll catch the two on the side. The kitchen slide we lovingly call Squeaky. The bad part about carrying a poop cart on your ladder is you have to take it off every time you stop at camp, because I want to go up and look at the roof before we put the slides in every time. So I have to remount that on the ladder right now. As you can see, it has a hook on it to hook over the ladder. You just want to make sure you're above the tail light. You don't block the tail light. Got to get it centered. Looks pretty good. There you go. Jackie's readying the cables. Okay, here we go. Hitch height. I push hitch height. The back levelers retract so the front end could come up. If the levelers in the back didn't retract, it would put all the weight of the unit on them and wouldn't be good for them. So the ground control is smart enough to know that. Now it's going up. Okay, that's where it remembers us being when we unhitch. So let's see how close we are. Looks like the level control memory is better than mine because it was perfect. I'll put the safety pin in the hitch, so there's no way I can accidentally throw that lever. And Jackie's going to plug in the power and hook up the safety brake cable, and we should be all hooked up at that point. We can do the tug test, retract the landing gear. The last thing I do is disconnect the power. We should be ready to go. So Jackie has hooked up the power. So that's electricity to the trailer to control the brakes and the lights. And it'll also charge while we're moving. It'll charge the RV batteries. Here's where she hooks the safety brake cable. So if it comes off the hitch, this cable will pull this pin out of this device and it'll cause the brakes on the rig to fully lock up. And I did put that pin in the hitch right there, and that keeps that lever from throwing. That lever there, it keeps that lever there from throwing, which would release the hitch. The reason that's so important for me is this is a slider hitch and it's got a second lever. You can see it's sticking up above the buckets there, and you throw that to slide it. And one time I got really lucky. I threw the other one to slide it, and now I wasn't hitched and the trailer moved a little bit. Thank the Lord it didn't come off the hitch, and I had to get the landing gear down and get it re-hitched up. So I always put that pin in. As soon as it's hooked up, I put that pin in. Now we'll do the tug test to make sure that the hitch is truly hitched and won't come apart. We do that by raising the landing gear, the front landing gear, up just a little, maybe 1/4 of an inch. I get in my truck, pull ahead, and make sure the unit moves with the truck. It doesn't try to separate at the hitch. Very, very important. You don't want to drop your rig on your truck. Okay, so the weight's off the landing gear. It's all in the truck now. So I'm going to go ahead and try to tug it ahead and make sure everything moves together. Very important. All that's left to do is to bring up the landing gear, stow all the wood I have under the landing gear, and then disconnect the power. We'll be done. Another great feature is the retract all button. It'll bring all the landing gear fully up. While that's happening, I do this. Should I say, we do this. If Jackie wasn't working the camera, she'd be helping. After we had the landing gear all retracted, I shut off the breaker here. That way it's not working against the truck. The truck's charging. I don't know if it would hurt, but I try not to have them both plugged in and powered up for very long. I don't know if it would hurt, probably not, but just on the safe side. Clumsy. Here we're doing the light check. Left blinker, right blinker, brakes. Up top, you will see backup light comes on. Perfect. All the compartment doors are locked. We've checked them. Checked the lights. We're good to go. See you down the road. The guy cutting the grass at this park damaged our rig. We'll show you what happened in an upcoming video. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please like and subscribe. And also, click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when new material hits our channel. From Ron and Jackie at HEISTMAN'S Hit the Road, have a great day, and thanks for watching.